Jolly Green 1990 here to talk about One Piece, my favorite character and the entire crew. So starting off, you will get to know that I love One Piece. As seen behind me, my favorite character is Roronoa Zoro. There are the 10 crew members are Monkey D. Luffy, Roronoa Zoro, Sanji Vinsmoke, Usopp, Nami, Tony Chopper, Nika Robin, Frankie, Brook, Jinbei. Unofficial member is Nefertari Vivi, I know I'm destroying that name, and Yamato, who has not joined officially, but a lot of people, myself included, believe will eventually and should join. So, Monkey D. Luffy. I love Luffy. He's the main character. He's full of energy. He relies on his friends. He's someone you can rely on. He goes above and beyond to achieve his goals. I think that's wonderful. I think he's a good, solid main character. Yeah, there's always going to be some flaws. I think he's got some plot armor, pretty much mean that stuff happens that essentially the author makes work just because he's the main character. I do think, moving on, I do think it's awesome that Zoro was the first person he met as also his first mate, as well as a swordsman, because in this series there's a lot of swordsmen, there's a lot of people using guns, and so it's nice for me, in my opinion, that the first mate, as well as the first character he actually joins his crew, is Zoro. I love Zoro actually as a swordsman. I think that's awesome, especially in this world where you have different power elements. One of those main being is hockey, the inner will. I love Zoro specifically just because he gets lost like crazy, and that is me to a T. And so I think it's cool. I like that he's got the 3 sword styles. It's not just a 1 or 2. One sword style was Odin in the Wano arc. Along with Zoro, it's like his captain, he's someone you can rely on. A bit dense at times, but you can count on him, and he always comes through. The third, or as Robin, the story calls him, the wings of the Pirate King, Zoro and Sanji. Love Sanji's character. I think he's had so much character. It's not my favorite, said Zoro is. I like that they keep the rivalry going, but in the community it seems like there's a lot of power scale, and to me they are both going to be slightly above each other or slightly on par because they're meant to be, as they are the wings of the Pirate King. They're always going to be the 1 and 2 kind of right there as helping out, dealing with problems. In my opinion, Sanji is more like the brains of the operation. There's another character we'll get to in a second, but in terms of power, I mean, Zoro and Sanji are already kind of right there. With what used to be the Monster Trio, Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji, and now it's kind of Luffy Zoro's tier after Wano. So spoiler alert if you've not read the current arcs or the current chapters, I will be talking about that. Going back to Sanji, I like him. I like that he's Cook. I like that the author Oda had said that essentially he is French. They've gotten a French actor for the one Netflix live action upcoming. Sanji, I do like this, that he's Cook. I like that he uses his feet. He does not use his hands to fight. Aside from a short fight he had where he had a character, I think it was, in his lobby, pretty much he used cutting knives to chop up noodles. Aside from that, majority of the time he uses his feet. And so I think that's been cool. I loved his arc he had with Whole Cake, introducing his family. That whole dynamic I thought was perfect. I did think it was ironic that he did slightly get a higher bounty after Whole Cake Zoro, so they kind of had this back and forth going. I will do another bounty. I'll do another video later that we got bounties, because everyone who's reading the series has their opinion on bounties. I'm no exception. I love the upcoming possibilities of what the bounties will be. Moving on, Usopp. Love Usopp. Disappointed that he didn't get to do more in the current arc. Wano. Usopp is the sniper of the crew. I love that he's a character who will say a lot of lies, and they're becoming truth. He's making, his goal was to become a great warrior of the sea, and he's doing that, in my opinion. He's gotten some decent bounties. The government finally actually saw him as a possible threat after what happened in Dressrosa. He and Luffy are buds. You can always rely on him. Usopp to me is kind of like the heart of the crew. Moving on, Nami, the Navigator. Like her character, she's one of my least favorite. That's just how it is. I mean, I thought she had a nice backstory related to some of the discrimination going on in the world with the Fishman, how her island was taken over by all pirates, how her family essentially was abused, her older sister was killed, and she was used because she could read maps. And then Luffy essentially rescued her, placed his hat on her head, and said, I got you. And from that point on, she's been with the crew. I like her. I think she's essential, but not my favorite. I mean, when Series 2, everyone has like their favorite character who are girl. For me, next character I guess I'll talk about would be Robin, who is the archaeologist of the team, who eventually started off as a villain under Crocodile, who's one of the earlier villains of the series, actually one of the Shubukai, who are 8 pirates who essentially, 8 pirates, or a group of pirates who essentially were tasked with keeping the pirates, other pirates in check and they're used by the world government. It was eventually gotten rid of by the world government. And so I like Robin as she's got a cool ability. Her devil fruit essentially allows her to create like petals and like hands and stuff off her body. I think that's cool. I think, again, her knowledge of being an archaeologist, she was raised and she read, and then her whole family, her whole island, the island of Ohara, was destroyed by the world government because they didn't want the knowledge to get out. And so to me, it's a tragic backstory, but it's nice that she has that, and the fact that she finally found a place to belong with the Straw Hats. Talked about Nico Robin. I'm going to jump to Tony Chopper, who's the crew, who's a reindeer, not a tanuki, as the people in the One Piece community or story call him. I love that he's got a human fruit. I think it's awesome that he can transform into 7 different forms. I love that he's always constantly learning. For some reason, the One Piece community, a lot of people don't always like him as a character. I still own it. I think it's cool. I love him as a doctor. I think it's awesome that he has a devil fruit. I like him slightly more than Nami. It's just my personal opinion. Moving on, I love Frankie. Frankie, to me, Frankie is the shipwright, the guy who fixes the ships and built the current ship with his adopted brother and some of their people from his company. Frankie is a cyborg. I think that's cool. I thought his original design was cool, but his personality is a little warped. I do like how far he's come, and now essentially he has a cyborg. If you see, I have him right there. And I loved his current fight in Wano. I may actually do videos for each of those fights. I love that people are relying on him more now that he's got the ship, he's got his weapons, and I think especially after that happened in Wano, people were learning to respect him more, not just the community, but I think in the One Piece world. Brook is the next character we'll talk about. Brook is a skeleton, yo-ho-ho-ho, who was lost essentially in, I don't remember the name, but the triangle essentially where they met another pirate, the Florian Triangle, and Brook's whole crew had died. He had eaten a fruit essentially that after he died he came back, and so I like that there's such despair behind Brook, but he's such a funny, enjoyable character because he's a musician, and he's been able to use his fruit and his despair with everything that happened with his crew to actually use it, kind of like the cold ice of hell. He used that in Wano against some of the, against some of the, it was some of the numbers as Robin fought one of the Toby Robo, and so I thought that was cool. Moving on, Jinbei. Love Jinbei. I think it's awesome that they have one of the next warlord of the sea. People were hired by the government to hunt down other pirates. I think it's awesome that he is working now for Luffy's part of the crew, as well as the fact that he's a fisherman. There's a lot of discrimination in the One Piece world, and so the fact that you have this major influential character who is a fisherman, was with different crews, and now is working with Luffy. And I mean, when he joined, he essentially had the second highest bounty, and then it was Sanji and Zoro. And so I think Jameson will change, and I'll mention that in a bounty video I'll do, but I'm excited they joined. I loved the information from Fishman Island. Not my favorite one, not one of my favorite arcs, but more enjoyable than some of the others. I thought there was a lot of information. I loved seeing the backstory with Jinbei and all the different characters, especially Shiroshi. I thought she was a wonderful character. I think she is a wonderful character. Next character I want to talk about is Nefertari Vivi, who is an unofficial member. When her country essentially was under attack, she ended up joining up with the Straw Hats, ended up defeating ended up defeating Crocodile with them. Almost switched her own world, sorry. And I love that she slowly became part of the crew. And a lot of people thought she was going to join. Something I recently heard is people think she'll come back for maybe Elbaf. I think that would be cool. Last character I want to talk about is Yamato, the daughter or the self-proclaimed Odin. I think it's awesome. You have a child of Kaido who's helping Luffy. She's powerful. She got an awesome devil fruit. She helped Momonosuke, one of the current shogun of Wano, current arc that One Piece is still in and about to finich. So I thought she was badass. That was awesome, her strength. So that is the Straw Hat Pirate Crew of One Piece, the manga and anime. I want to briefly talk about each of those characters. As I mentioned, I like all the characters. Zoro's my favorite. I'm not going to say who's next and who's least. It's just I have a special heart place for all of them since I've been reading since high school, and I'm in my early 30s, and so they got me. I bonded with some of them, some of the arcs I didn't like, some of the stuff I have. I'll possibly mention that later. So this was my One Piece character introduction and my opinion on it. Thank you.